Mr. Trade Representative, are you aware that the tariffs have been paused?
I am, yes.
When were you made aware of that?
Well, I understood the decision was made a few minutes ago.
Sitting here.
Under discussion.
Sitting here, under discussion. So did you know that this was under discussion, and why did you not include that as part of your opening remarks?
So typically what I don't do is divulge the contents of my discussions with
What are the
President
details of the pause?
Well, my understanding is that because so many countries have decided not to retaliate, we're going to have about 90 days.
No, excuse me? China increased their tariffs on the United States. Trump blinked.
What's the blink, sir?
What do you know about this pause? What are the details of it?
Well, the details, as I understand it, is that China continues to retaliate. Other countries didn't retaliate. The president 2 or 3 days ago said we wanted to negotiate with those countries that asked for meetings. That's what we're doing.
What are the details? How long is the pause? How many days? How many weeks?
I understand it's 90 days. I haven't spoken to the president since I've been
So
in
the
this
trade
hearing.
Representative hasn't spoken to the president of the United States about a global reordering of trade.
Yes, I have.
And
I've just been in the hearing with you, sir.
But yet he announced it on a tweet? WTF? Who's in charge?
The president of the United States is in charge.
And what do you know about those details?
Well, as I mentioned...
it looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you and paused the tariffs, the taxes on the American people. There's no strategy. You just found out 3 seconds ago, sitting here, we saw you.
We've been discussing a variety of...
If you came here knowing that you were going to be turned off, that these tariffs were going to be turned off, why didn't you include that in your opening statement? Why didn't you reference that as part of your testimony?
Well, I don't disclose my conversations with the president, sir.
These were specific questions we asked you all along. What's the strategy? These are real consequences for the American people and small businesses. I had a group of small businesses in my office earlier today talking about the impacts of these tariffs on aluminum and steel. This is amateur hour, and it needs to stop. What does this even mean for your negotiating strategy? How are you in charge of negotiation if the president is tweeting about this from wherever the hell he is?
The president was elected, and he runs the trade policy, and I advise him and execute his trade policy.
Who executes the trade policy?
I execute the trade policy.
Did you know that this was happening?
We have been discussing all kinds of...
And there's another member of the cabinet, Bessent, who just canceled coming to the Hill to avoid talking about the market because it's in turmoil. This in just days because there was no strategy, there was no plan. The president chose to take actions that he didn't even have the authority to take. He's put our economy in disarray and near collapse. We have small businesses and Americans who are concerned about their well-being, people's retirement, people's 529 accounts went down because of this administration. We have people that are planning to send their kids to college this fall. People who are retiring whose benefits have declined. Is this market manipulation?
No.
Why not? If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
We're trying to reset the global trade system.
That's
offshored all of our factories.
And what has that done? How have you achieved any of that? But to enact enormous harm on the American people, which was our concern from the very beginning. Tariffs are a tool. It can be used in the appropriate way to protect U.S. jobs and small businesses. But that's not what this does. So if it's not market manipulation, what is it? Who's benefiting? What billionaire just got richer? And all the while, there are not even any Republicans left in this hearing. They all left because they don't even want to defend this. But meanwhile, the Speaker is rushing to the floor to pass a budget reconciliation to screw America by passing the biggest tax cut in history. on the backs of the American people? WTF? Who's in charge? Because it sure doesn't look like it's the trade representative. You just got the rug pulled out from under you. I wish I could feel some empathy, but the empathy I have is for the American people whose very well-being and livelihoods are being affected. This is not a game. This is real life. I yield back.
要打多久？我讲我们不要做决定。过去是有到了门，以后是有20号耶，或者美国的将来的什么总统由他们去决定。就是说，他们要打多久就打多久，一直打到环节胜利。要打多久？我讲我们不要做决定。过去是有到了门，以后是有20号耶，或者美国的将来的什么总统由他们去决定。就是说，他们要打多久就打多久，一直打到环节胜利，一直打到环节胜利。
中国人民不惹事儿，也不怕事，在任何困难和风险面前，腿肚子不会抖，腰杆子不会弯。中华民族是吓不倒、压不垮的。
Pays the tariffs.
The Chinese government pays the tariff.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
How you doing?
I'm an importer and an exporter for 20 years. When a product comes into the U.S., there's something called a tariff sheet.
Okay.
I, as the buyer of that product, follow U.S. law and pay the tariff. I'm an American citizen, an American taxpayer. I pay that tariff to the U.S. government, and that increase in the cost, I then sell to you for a higher price because I've got to cover that tariff.
Then what about?
There is
then
no.
What do you say? Our tariffs are higher when they go overseas as opposed to theirs coming here.
Tariffs are never a zero-sum game. Tariffs are a tool. For example, you might say you want to sell us your beans.
Yeah.
We are going to give you a low tariff if you buy our corn. But the cost of the tariff is ultimately always borne by the consumer. I, as the buyer of that product, follow U.S. law and pay the tariff. Some goods are tariff-free. But when I pay that tariff, I'm an American citizen, an American taxpayer, right? That tariff might be 1%, it might be 7%, it might be 14%. That means I'm a U.S. company. I pay that tariff to the U.S. government, and that increase in the cost of the product, I then sell to you for a higher price because I've got to cover that tariff. The product that comes into the U.S. is paid for by a U.S. company, and the increased cost of that is borne by all of us.
My understanding is that the tariff is lopsided to benefit other countries as opposed to ours. The suggestion is just to bring it up to make it equal.
That's why you have free trade agreements, right? But it doesn't mean that even within the free trade agreement there are not tariffs. If there's one thing you should take away from this extended conversation is you are always paying the tariff. I, as the buyer of that product, follow U.S. law and pay the tariff. I'm an American citizen, an American taxpayer. I pay that tariff to the U.S. government, and that increase in the cost, I then sell to you for a higher price.
My understanding is that the tariff is lopsided to benefit other countries as opposed to ours. The suggestion is just to bring it up to make it equal.
That's why you have free trade agreements.
The competition argument that American products are going to be in the marketplace a little more is, I think, kind of bullshit. If you want American goods in circulation, they're already going to cost more. So if you want American products in the marketplace made cheaper through tariffs, you're going to have to really screw American workers, pay them less, give them less benefits, no health care. Like, it's not a good idea to have, 100% American-made products because it'll be so expensive.
We are going to give you a low tariff if you buy our corn, but the cost of the tariff is ultimately always borne by the consumer.
My understanding is that the tariff is lopsided to benefit other countries as opposed to ours. The suggestion is just to bring it up to make it equal.
So if you want American products in the marketplace made cheaper through tariffs, you're going to have to really screw American workers, pay them less, give them less benefits, no health care. Like, it's not a good idea to have 100% American-made products because it'll be so expensive.